I'll call the meeting in order. We'll do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Okay, we have a short agenda, not much on it. So is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approve the previous board minutes from February 6th. Everybody's had a chance to look at those. Is there any additions or corrections?
None, so moved.
Motion's been made to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public comment. Now's the time for public comment. Is anybody in? Forward and state your name.
Morning, I'm John Bell. I live on 508 South Marshall Street,
Okay,
a couple blocks from here. And I've been doing it. I was more than surprised by the increase in my real estate tax. So I started communicating with members in St. Paul, asking what the deal is. They said it's strictly a local matter. When I spoke with people, tried to communicate with people here at Houston County, I was told it's a state matter. All I was asking is who is responsible for this? And time after time, I was told it's somebody else. I still don't know who is responsible. Okay. Setting that aside, I understand completely the need for Houston County to have adequate funds available in order to operate successfully. Well, in attempts to communicate via email with members of this board and with people in assessor's office, and my email account was blocked. That's a problem. So I did forward it to the state, and they're looking into it now. Back to where I started, I understand completely the need to fairly assess real estate taxes and all sources of funds to give Houston County what it needs in order to not only operate, but to grow. Every taxpayer gets a projected real estate tax for the succeeding year. So there's a cost associated with doing that. At the same time, I think it's important that the people of Houston County that are paying real estate taxes be made aware of all state programs that they could use to mitigate real estate tax increases, and at the same time provide, in my case, hundreds of dollars, and at the same time produce state dollars to Houston County in the tens of thousands of dollars. And I think people have to apply for that on a case-by-case basis. HP 2725 is under consideration with the threshold of $2,000 rebate. Right now, it's up to $1,000. It's anyone who's had an increase of 12% year over year, or more than $100. The state of Minnesota will give us up to 60% of that back. That's free money. And I'm the only person that I know about it. The assessor's office didn't know about it. I just spoke with somebody today. I have the websites here telling how we can bring these funds into Houston County, at the same time saving money for Houston County real estate taxes. I don't see how this is a lose proposition for anyone. And the problem is people that qualify for it don't know about Who's gonna assume responsibility for informing them? I've got neighbors on both sides of me that were crying at the amount of their increase in real estate taxes. I saw the justification for it. It focuses on houses built before the year 1940. That's a selective 25% tax increase that's been made public. I did not know about it, so I missed any meetings where I had a chance to suggest that this is a bill of attainder. For 5 years, I worked for a CPA firm that audited HUD installations. I know about what I talk when it comes to real estate valuations, but that's really a discussion that's too late, and I get it. Okay, however, I believe it's incumbent on Houston County Assessor's Office to educate everyone that they're charging increases of more than 12% or more than $100 about their rights under a targeted tax refund. Almost everybody qualifies. And to me, it's irresponsible.
They bring it up all the time.
Are the people told,
When people come to the meetings, they are told about this code.
okay, you missed my point. The state of Houston County tells everybody what their increase is. So there's that cost associated with the billing. Wouldn't you like to, at the same time, make people aware of this?
It's been in articles in the paper too.
It was not in the documentation that's sent to each taxpayer.
Not in the, well, it's on the back. Yep, it's on the back of this tax statements of every, I'm pretty sure, yep, yeah, that's right. You turn your tax statement around, it's on the back.
Including this 12% year over year.
Yep.
Yep, that was all talked at the meeting.
Yep, and it's on the statement
On the back of your statement.
So then what you're telling me is that putting it on the back of the statement, when the amount of the increase is on the front of the statement, is adequate notification. Is that what we're saying?
It's on the statement.
Are we saying that's adequate notification?
There, you only have so much room, sir, to.
Are we saying it's
Well,
adequate notification? Yes or no? Simple
We're
question.
not,
Yes.
this is public comments.
Those statements come from the state and then made by the state. So the state feels that that's adequate notification, put it on back.
Okay, so then can Houston County, present, provide the same information? What is the source of the letter? It's just, is that come from this county or does it come from the state?
So the format for the tax statement that includes what's going to be on the front and what's going to be on the back is defined by the state.
I understand that. I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is, at what point, since what we want to do is raise revenue, right, at no cost to anyone, doesn't it make perfect sense to provide adequate visibility so people take advantage of the program? Doesn't that make sense?
What I'm gonna say is that there's only so much room on the front of the page to give you all the information. May I finish? There's only so much room, and on the back, just like any contract you have, when you buy a car or you do anything else, you have an opportunity to see all the information. The state sends down the information that is mandated to provide information, how to get your refund through the taxation, through your income tax form. There's other forms that are available, and you can only do so much on the front page. Otherwise, you have legal pages instead of a two-sided piece of paper. As it is now, there's two.
I understand, and I know everything what you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, I work with the CPA firm. I'm very, very comfortable. I understand everything you're saying. The question had nothing to do with that. The question was, doesn't it make sense to make sure that every taxpayer is made aware with the same degree of specificity as the tax increase? Why not put in another piece of paper? How much would one more cost piece of paper saying, here are the laws, you can get up to $2,000 back if HB 2725 is passed. Right now, you can get up to $1,000 back. So I would propose that the state of that Houston County send out a notification in the same way that they sent out the increase, indicating the potential savings. Is that asking too much? You get thousands of percent back on your investment. I also taught college level accounting, have graduate work in finance. I wrote computer systems for HUD, for Medicare, always with an idea of having a balance between what people's civic responsibility is and the reasonableness in which their rights are represented. Is it a bad idea to send something out to all the taxpayers and say, you can get another $300 back? Snap of a finger. That money comes from the state. It's free money. We're not taking, Houston County's not taking advantage of it. And I don't see anything wrong about that. Here are the websites. Here's all that people have to do. I'll leave it here. You can do what you want with it. But we have to look at civic responsibility on the part of taxpayers. And also, I think we have to look at the responsibility of people in this room to ensure that free money that comes from the state is made available to either offer the services or reduction. If there's going to be a reduction in tax liability at the snap of a finger. Are there any questions?
We can take it into consideration from my point of view.
Okay, is there going to be any suggested action?
We'll look
This
at-
is just public comment, so you stated your points, you can take it from there. There is no back and forth.
Okay, so
There's
then
no
what do we
action,
do
there's-
about, what do we do about members of county that are blocking website, or blocking people's email addresses? Are we gonna do something about that?
I've never been blocked any, your emails have all gotten to me. I don't-
No, they've been blocked.
No, they haven't.
I'm clearly seeing that's
Yeah, I
coming back.
got
as having
your
been
email, I
blocked.
got your email saying that you were blocked, but I got your email. It's
Okay,
obviously
then-
you're not being blocked.
Okay, what action have you taken as a result of reading?
I've
that?
asked IT about it and they said absolutely not,
What, absolute, oh,
that you're not being blocked.
okay, so then you've gotten everything that I've
I've
spoken about.
gotten all your emails. Yep.
Okay, so then why is it that the state is blaming Houston County and Houston County is blaming the state?
Sir,
And nobody's saying that
Sir,
there's an ultimate
we're not
responsibility.
gonna have a back and forth here. This is a public comment. You stated your case to us. And then we just move on from there and we'll take it under advisement in future proceedings when we conduct business.
Say, who will be responsible then for notifying taxpayers of these programs that are available to us?
It's already
Somebody's there.
notified in the statement, so.
So
If
what
you
you
wanted
saying is
extra
nobody's
step-
gonna be specifically assigned that responsibility. Is that what you're saying?
It's
At this point in time?
It's the county's responsibility.
Okay. I'm pleased. Thank you.
All right,
The other public,
any other public comment? No,
So
but
one correction, it's HF 2725, not HP. Who's referencing?
I'll smile.
I got it in my emails. We have no other public comment? No appointments? Consent agenda, there's nothing on our consent agenda, so we don't need to take any action on that. No action item. This is gonna be a short meeting, but it was eventful so far.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Screw anymore.
We'll move on to discussion items. General discussion. Is there anybody that want to bring up something in general discussion or?
I had a couple of meetings here. I was at Rochester for emergency communication. And there's a lot of discussion about getting together with technology, this is having central dispatches. So it's a long ways down the road. And, so that was discussed. Voice logging, currently doing our own, so that's not an issue for us. Just, things coming up here in the future. There's some grants for, improving our communication. But we're already on that already with, the radios and cameras going into the squad, so. We're ahead of the game on that one, actually, and let's see, one other thing I was gonna talk on. Connecting fire departments directly with 911 centers so that when they get a call, they know immediately what type of problem they have, so they can start sending the proper equipment. That's one thing there they talked about. Last night I attended this La Crescent City Council meeting. They are Heart Safe Committee, or Heart Safe City at this time. They have EDA, AAD deals throughout the whole city, up to 30, I believe, at this time. Gentleman bought some land from the city. He's going to build a hockey simulator. That's a big deal. Had community service meeting this morning. I'm going to ask John to comment on a couple of things we talked about. One has to do with Crest and one has to do with housing dollars that may become available. So he can explain what's coming down the pike on that, if you could, John.
So we looked at your agenda and decided that I could fill some time.
You're right, Grady.
I will be brief.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. When I said, Eric,
Time.
Eric, when I said that, did you see the other John?
I don't know that I ever have the opportunity to bring something real simple to you. So,
That'd be awful nice.
yeah. So first thing, I think recently I brought extension, 6-month extension to a governance agreement for the Southeast Regional Crisis Center, or THRC. We are party to that governance agreement through our association with CREST. CREST is an acronym that I wish I knew what it was. It's a thing that nobody seems to know what it stands for. It is the 10 counties in Southeast Minnesota. They get together and we coordinate our use of adult mental health initiative dollars. It was that group that helped launch the Southeast Regional Crisis Center, or CERC. That launched 3 years ago. They had a 3-year governance. Partners to that governance are Mayo, Olmsted Medical Center, Crest, all the Crest counties, Olmsted County separately because they own the building, and then NAMI, which is the National Association of Mental Illness. So they bring kind of a constituent or a lived experience voice to that board table. Crest has 2 seats on that board. Currently, I fill one of those seats. I'm also, this year, we rotate our chair through the 10 counties. We're Crest, and I'm currently the chair of Crest. So we're working on this governance to take the things we've learned in the first 3 years of operation and how can we improve that, things that we assumed, projected in the first governance, and how we can make changes going forward. So presumably sometime mid-year, I'm going to probably be bringing an updated governance to you. Part of that as well is the Olmsted County also, in their role of owning the building and a partner in this, they contract for the services that are provided at CERC with an organization called Nexus Family Healing. They have a variety of different similar kinds of sites and mental health services that they provide throughout Minnesota, North Dakota, and I think Illinois. In the first 2 years of operation, they had a deficit, and that deficit, based on the purchase of service agreement between all those counties, says that the county is the payer of last resort. going back to try and figure out exactly how that all happened. The CERC was stood up during the pandemic. There's been lots of change, things we've learned. Where we've gone with it is decided that we're going to split that deficit by population. For us, we are 4.27% of the population in that 10-county region. And that equates to $15,709 to make our provider whole for 21 and 22. I would like to pay that by the end of the month because it's a prior year commitment. I'd like to get it in 24 since we're still in that 2-month accrual period for the end of 24. So that's something that we've talked about a little bit at the Community Services Committee, that we're working through some of those things, trying to get a handle on what that figure is and how we can retain our provider, but also look at making changes to how we can prevent any kind of deficits into the future. Some of those things include changes to billing processes. The way it was initially designed is they did not bill co-payments and deductibles and things like that. That is something that will likely change. Some of their operation has changed. They, given the hospital influence on this, those partners were very strongly supportive of having 24/7 nursing at this site. After 3 years of operation, we see that those overnight nurses were really not being used. So they're taking out that third shift of nurses. That saves in itself something like $130,000. So we're making adjustments to what's going forward. But I wanted to bring that forward to you. I would have it likely on as an action item on the 27th of this month so that we can have it paid. Warrant list, I was talking to Heidi. We probably have it in that warrant list for the 27th. And we can pull it if you choose not to approve it, but that way we get it done and out of or into our books for 2024. Questions, thoughts on that?
That's all I wanted you to explain.
Yeah.
That coming up 2 weeks.
So anyway, you can look forward to that. The housing piece, I think some of you have been aware of some housing money we received from the Department of Revenue. It was a bit of a surprise. Human Services typically doesn't receive money directly from the Department of Revenue. There's 2 pots. One is family homeless prevention money, and the other is housing. Yeah,
98,000, right?
yeah. Just 1 second here. Local homeless prevention aid, which right now is a combination of first 2 years, it'd be the 23 and 24. That's 98,990. That's an allocation that's going to come to us annually, not of 98,000, probably in the neighborhood of 50-some thousand. That will be coming to us through 2028. It's money that shows up, and it's interesting type of funding in that typically money is set aside or it's approved for us to bill against. Counties will, I often say we have to spend it to earn it. And so you spend it first, you get reimbursed for the expense. This is different. This money came sitting in the books and we got to find a home for it. The first portion of it that came in 2023, which is 46,242, needs to be spent by the end of this calendar. So we typically haven't been deeply involved in housing and homeless prevention work. So we're working with SEMCAT. I'm in the process of finalizing a work plan with them. This is aligns very nicely with work they're already doing. And so I'm also hoping to have a contract with them that I bring either to the February 27th meeting or maybe the first meeting in March, depending on getting all of that stuff taken care of. So we would contract with them to provide these types of services and be able to show that money is spent. If we don't show that first portion, the 2023 portion spent by the end of 2024, it goes back to the state. So we're looking for ways that we can work with families that are experiencing homelessness or are precariously housed, things like rental assistance, case management, helping people, even with mortgage payment kinds of things to prevent them from falling into homelessness, or if they are currently homeless in a homeless situation. The caveat with that program is it has to be families with children. So there's a few nuances to it that are part of the agreement and work plan we're working on with SEMCAC to be able to achieve that.
Well, if it's a single veteran that's homeless.
No, for this money, I get what you're saying. We've talked about some of that as well, because we have some adult homelessness that we see or we work with different clients. This funding stream couldn't be used for that. So it's specifically geared toward local family homeless prevention.
Do we have any numbers on what our homeless family?
It's a hard number to come up with. I know HUD does an unhoused count every 2 years. Rural homelessness is hard to count. You don't typically see in counties like ours encampments, or we don't have home shelters. It typically is more that people are doubled up in houses, or they're precariously housed, or they're housed in substandard housing, those kinds of things. Or they're struggling with making rent, different things, foreclosure, that's experience, but I don't have a specific number. A lot harder to count. So, but it's not to say that there is no such thing as house or homelessness. So be looking for that. I'm finalizing the work plan with SEMCAC so that we can partner with them and kind of align with the work that they're doing to assist more families that are struggling with stable housing. Second, with that is affordable housing aid. That's more your bricks and sticks. So that currently has $192,000. That's inclusive of 2 years as well. $96,037 a year. That first $96,000 needs to also be spent by the end of this calendar year. So $192,000 is a nice little chunk of change, but if you're thinking about building units or even rehab or scattered site, it's not very much. So we started looking into what it would take. We talked with some of our colleagues in other counties, asked what they're doing. Some are setting up housing trust funds, and that allows us to show it as spent, and we put it into this trust fund that we can add other dollars to, maybe leverage dollars through Bluff Country HRA, EDA, stuff like that. So I'm working with Allison and EDA on looking at what it would take to do that. To create a local housing trust fund, you would have to create that by ordinance. I think there's, from what I can see right now, there isn't a big downside to that. It gives us an opportunity to put that money in a trust fund and be able to leverage that to work with others that are doing housing. One of the big things that Allison is very supportive of, based on her work, is we have a lot of requests supposedly for rehab, and different families or different criteria sometimes say you've got inefficient windows, or you've got windows that have lead paint or something. And the funding they have will fund 9 windows to be replaced, but they've got 12. There's ways that we can blend this with other efforts to be able to help and assist with some of that rehab work. It could also potentially work toward combining with other projects as it relates to scattered site housing or what have you. So my plan there is also to work with SEMCAC, as they are kind of central in that discussion, and probably also look at HRA and like I said, working with Allison and EDA to think through how we can use that. What's often said for economic development is you need 3 things: housing, childcare, transportation. That's been the thrust that we've tried to do in working to assist and improve childcare. This is something that could help assist in building and improving housing stock. So probably in the near future, we bring something to you that would be a proposal to establish an ordinance. Obviously, the ordinance process, I don't have a lot of specifics on what that would take, We did talk last week with a representative from Minnesota Housing Partnership who has a lot of information on that. So look forward to that. We'll be bringing that. Hopefully that's something. Well, I know it'll be an allowable use of that money, so it doesn't go back to the state. Potentially, it gives us an opportunity to leverage that money and align with other projects that are already happening in our county.
It's allowable to put it into trust.
Correct.
But how much has to be spent?
Well, the first year of it for that affordable housing aid is 96,037. But we've seen both years, we've seen 23 and 24. So what's sitting on our books is 192,074.
Well, what has to be spent by?
Half
the
of
end of
it,
this?
the
Half
first half
the
would
first
be
half.
96,000.
And the other part of the other
98.
is 46,000.
Yeah, 46,000. So what I'll be bringing to you is probably a contract with SEMCAT. I'm thinking for the first year of that, and then we bring subsequent contracts based on money that we receive in the subsequent year. Okay. For that, I guess I would broadly characterize that as more service support types of projects, where the affordable housing aid is more bricks and sticks. That's where you're fixing things, rehab, building, that kind of thing. So one caveat too is the dollars need to be spent in Houston County. So if you've got a multi-county HRA, you need to work with them and their partner in some of this to assure that any kind of work we're doing with them have these resources landing in Houston County. So kind of an unusual, in my career, I've not seen something like this. But it provides us some opportunities that we want to maximize.
Well, it's
Good news.
come from the state, the budget surplus, another program they got.
Yeah, what's weird about it is that it is, at least the way it's currently structured in statute, is it'll continue to fund automatically annually through 2028.
That's why in 2 years they're gonna be in budget.
That's just an interesting span. Usually what I've seen is like 2-year biennial
Right.
spans. So
We could use some good news.
any questions on that?
Sounds like 27th is gonna be a busy meeting.
Gonna pay for this one.
Yeah,
Anything else?
thanks, John.
You bet. You guys have a good one.
That's all I had.
Okay, Greg, you got anything?
Got a Wildcat meeting today at 11. We had one last week. Last Wednesday night, I went to Spring Grove Township meeting. I guess that Myra's going to the Supreme Court with this now, so. What's all gonna happen there, I'm not sure. That's about all I can update you on that. Outside of that, that's about it.
Bob?
Oh, we had our land use meeting this morning. Sounds like we had the question last about road bans, and the highway department's just gonna follow the state on that. So.
Yep.
No change there. Got the E91 addressing down at the boat houses along Brownsville, which would be nice for first responders and sheriff's office response. So I'm not sure if they got the signs up yet, but he's got the geo marking all done, so that's good news. Had a quick update on the canoe landing for the Root River at Polka. He's looking at some other grant fundings there, so.
Yeah, he was going to, they were gonna use river watershed money, and that does qualify because it's supposed to be, that money's for stream bank enhancer protection. So this is a canoe landing, so that's kind of a different situation. He had other grants.
Sounded promising. Other than that, I don't think we had too much there. So something you want to add?
Mary brought up about the new land shark program coming up. It's gonna be coming soon, fairly soon. Amelia brought up the sponge moth control program is gonna be coming, and the lady from the state who's been here before is gonna come to our meeting and discuss this new program. Last time it was the gypsy moth, now it's the sponge moth.
Something new every year.
More information to come.
Luke is wrapping up land values, hopefully here shortly, next week or so. Yeah, that's about all I was, and some of the main points that was discussed.
You guys got to say about this John guy?
So that's-
Well,
Seems like he's not comparing apples to apples. He's talked about off the tangents and, we can only provide so much information. And lead the horse to water, but you can't make it water.
well, he said his piece in the public comment and his emails aren't being blocked, so I've gotten everyone.
I've got one from him too, so I mean.
I read them.
Lucky one.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything. We've got a river watershed meeting coming up here on the 26th. Next week is the legislative conference for AMC. I won't be able to attend next week. I don't know if Bob Burns is going. Yep.
Probably commented, probably mentioned he might. But
Yeah.
you saw, I don't know.
And
That's gonna be up at St. Paul.
They're supposed to be calling me.
I just thought I should bring to your attention some of the new legislation that's being talked about.
Daniel, well, said he's gonna get hold of me.
It was in the paper about the legislature is looking into doing, enacting in what they call the North Star Act. And that's creating the whole state a sanctuary state, not just Hennepin County, so it'll be all counties. And I talked to John previously, a little bit this morning about it. It's something new. It hasn't, nothing's been presented yet as of yet, but it's being talked about. So just to keep everybody aware that all counties could become sanctuary counties for illegal immigration. So that might have some effect on our budgets.
Big time.
Yes.
So that's all I got. Any closing public comment? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You got all three
Is
of
there a second to that?
us. Pick out one.
you can have it.
I don't think so.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.